So the next one, my trusty little treasure chest. What trainings or certifications in relation to your teachings do you have? What trainings or certifications? Let's just say none. Proudly none. I like the fact that what comes to me, it just comes to me in the moment. So it's kind of like an embodied channel. Embodied meaning I don't go into a trance and not know what I'm saying. I'm here, embodied, but whatever I need to know comes through, whether it's questions from an audience or questions online or counseling when I'm doing spiritual counseling with people, or healing. It just, things come to me. That's most of what I do. Like Buddha, like Jesus, no formal training, okay? When I say none, it's true academically, like zero. But having still studied a bit in terms of, I loved hearing about mysticism or whatever. I never studied academically, and I wouldn't be able to typically because my memory doesn't sit there and just hold data and answer quizzes in a school classroom. Things come to me when I need them to, and then that's how I know things. But no, even the healing arts. When I was a kid, I did take classes on acupressure, massage, foot reflexology, some of the basic things that were available back then. So I studied a few healing arts and took some classes in, what was available because I just loved it. I loved the people at the classes, the little centers you could go to and take like psychic development classes or something, those were cool, but it was the people. Learning this stuff was a breeze. It just always came to me. But it was actually not, I didn't really retain anything from those schools that I could say is now being taught through me today. It just doesn't happen that way. There wasn't really that much of value because in those days it was just really much more primitive metaphysics for the time, and psychic development and so on. When you really realize who you are and so forth, you just are able to do readings from just consciousness. But I do think that and believe that the classes are beneficial to people. If you don't have something else and you go to a class, I think it's great. I mean, I teach classes too, so I think that's fine, but also other people. I think it's great that someone goes and takes a tarot reading class or a astrology course online or in person, Metaphysics 101 or universities of metaphysics. I think it's great, especially that you get to hang with people of similar consciousness. That's what I loved most. But there's also a lot you can learn, and it might be, it might be helpful to you in your work. And one more thing is, I don't typically have notes to teach from, but when I have quotes, because I don't memorize things, if I think I'm going to use a quote in a talk, I'll bring and print out the quotes, because memorizing the quotes, my brain doesn't do as much as just channeling whatever, right? But it's a funny thing because in my many years ago, there would be a part of me that would think it's almost irresponsible to just go out there and just channel it. The human part was a little insecure about it. So it was funny, I would get a piece of paper and have some notes on it, but I would never look at the paper. Or eventually I thought, well, I don't even use those. So I pared it down to a Post-it. So Post-its became my best friends. So in my talks, I would have a Post-it, but I don't even stand in front of a podium to stick it on there. And it would look kind of silly reading from a Post-it. So it was funny because I would put a Post-it like, try to remember this story or this quote, just like little reminders to utilize, but I would never look at them. So it was a security blanket or training wheels in a sense for many years that I never even used, never really, needed. But that's just sharing that kind of a silly, vulnerable story about my having to have that for a little while. I mean, I knew I wasn't using it, but I just kept it. It's like I was still honoring that little doubt, or catering to that little doubt, okay?